And then government said, all right, so public is demanding their sentence. But the law does not allow the government to appeal against a verdict which is a guilty verdict. So okay, we have majority in the parliament, so we change the law. We change the law retrospectively so that these people, this guy can be given death sentence. Not only that, the Prime Minister, now this is, I mean, anyone, we have an MP here, we have barristers here, you will laugh, you will be astonished. Prime Minister in the Parliament telling publicly the judges should listen to public's opinion while giving judge. Anywhere in the world, I mean the judge listening to public opinion, not to the court proceedings, not to the way the court took place, the hearing took place and the arguments, it's not based on that. Listen to the public. If judges in the world now start giving verdict on the basis of public opinion, why do we need court then? So this is what they did. One example, this man, Abdul Qadir Mullah, okay? So he is the butcher of Mirpur. Dhaka University is just around 20 kilometers away from Mirpur. 1972, he gets admitted in Dhaka University, okay? Studies there, stays in the hostel, university hostel, passes with first, brilliant result, becomes a teacher in a school inside Dhaka University campus. No one notices. A butcher who killed 300-400 people just following year after independence, he's doing all these things and no one knows that this is a butcher. You know now, 42 years later, oh yes, he is the butcher. It's just laughable, but this is what they're doing. Okay? And for his case and Maulana Saidi's case, it's just about another funny thing, it's mistaken identity. There was a butcher of Mirpur called Qadir. So his name is Qadir, there was a butcher called Qadir, so he is this Qadir. Okay? There was a Razakar called Dilbar Shikdar in that Maulana Saidi's area. So Maulana Saidi's name is Dilbar Hussain, his name was Dilbar Hussain, so Maulana Saidi is Dilbar Hussain Shikdar. They could not prove. Maulana Saidi's father's name was Saidi, his name was Saidi. They could not prove. And even the judge started, when he started giving the judgment, he said, oh, we are not judging the famous Mufassir Quran Maulana Saidi, we are judging Dilbar Hussain Shikdar. How could you prove that it was Shikdar? They could not prove, under any circumstances. But what has been happening to the court proceedings so far is they are all written. Everything is written. They have nothing, the judgment, the verdicts have nothing to do with the court proceedings. So I'll now come to, do I have time?
Yes.
All right, okay. I'll now talk a little bit about my father. A brief, many of you know his name. He was born in 1922. He's now almost 91. He did his studies MA Political Science from Dhaka University, and he was a teacher at Rangpur Carmichael College for 5 years. He was the General Secretary of Dhaka University Central Students Union, DACSU, in 1947-48 and 48-49. And while he was the General Secretary, the language movement, Bengali language movement started. And the first official appeal to the Pakistan government to acknowledge Bengali as an official language in Bangladesh, or in East Pakistan, or in Indian Pakistan, was given through Dhaka University's reception to the then Prime Minister Liaquat Ali Khan. And my father actually did that. He was actively involved, he was jailed 3 times for being involved in the language movement, and he lost his job as the lecturer, as an assistant professor of that college. Now there was a strong struggle movement to reinstate him, and while he was in jail, he was dismissed when he was in jail, and when he came out, the college authority had to withdraw the dismissal. But by that time he joined Jamaat Islam, and he decided to dedicate his full time to the cause and did not take his stool back. Interestingly, if you go to Dhaka University, now this is Bangladesh. I mean, this is so funny. If you go to Bangladesh, and there is a Dhaka University Central Student Union, and it's sort of names of all those people who were general, vice presidents and general secretaries of the Dhaka University Central Student Union. Missing in 2 years. So you got until from 1920 or onwards until now, 1947-48, 1948-49, 2 years when Ghulam Azam was the general secretary. That is not there. That name is missing. So that is the culture. That is the Ghulam Azam was the language movement, very much actively involved in language movement. He was jailed 3 times. No, he wasn't. His name cannot be mentioned. So now in ICT, I'll just talk about his what this ICT is doing. The Crime Tribunal Act is doing with my father. They charged him on 62 accounts. Okay. One of them, they say, is he was involved in one killing. I'll come to that. And 61 of them are his statements as Amir of Jamaat Islami East Pakistan. As he was politically, they wanted united Pakistan. So there's no denial of that fact. It was a fact. They wanted united Pakistan, and this was his patriotism. That he wanted to unite Pakistan. He loved his country. Now if someone, some parts of Bangladesh wants to get away, like Sylhet wants to say, okay, we want to become independent. And then as a Sylhet, from those who are from Sylhet, if you say, no, we want united Bangladesh. So are you a patriot or are you a traitor? So political position is a completely different thing. Then, and it was a very small party. Jamaat Islami was a very small party at the time. The one cause that they say that my father wrote a letter to a Pakistani army official for killing a person. The person came to him for help. He said, okay, I'm writing a letter to the army. And actually, they want to say that he actually wrote in that letter, kill him. So I go and take a letter from you, and I'm carrying my death sentence with me, and I don't even know what's happening. This is ridiculous. Okay, fine. He wrote a letter. Where is that letter? Sheikh Hasina claimed in the parliament, I have that letter with me. Okay, where is it? The court case is going on. Where is the letter? Bring it. They want. There is no letter. This is politics. Court has to function through evidence. No evidence. Now he is almost 91, an old man. So how is he treated? He fainted 5 times in the court. He fell in the bathroom, he's in hospital prison cell. Yet, they are not, giving him the proper investigation on health conditions. It's not being done. Okay? And recently, on the 20th of March, my uncle, my father's youngest brother, passed away. Please pray for him. And parole was requested that he should be released for parole to attend his janazah. They didn't give him. They did not allow an old man to attend the janazah of his brother's brother. So that is a type of human rights violation they do. In Ramadan, he's given food at the normal times, lunchtime, dinner time. But he's fasting, so he needs to keep the lunchtime food for his iftar and dinner time food for his suhoor. Sometimes the food would go off, but that is how they treated him. They didn't allow him for the first few months. No Quran, no Hadith, no Islamic literature, nothing. No one to talk to. 24-hour CCTV camera, and he's just there, isolation. They wanted to break his mental spirit. And alhamdulillah, my family, my mother and my brothers saw him yesterday. And alhamdulillah, he's spiritually very strong. In terms of the case, the prosecution got 17 witnesses. Okay? And All those 17 witnesses could not say to anyone how Professor Ghulam Azam, all his statements, or the prosecution couldn't say that any of his statements incited murder. But that is what we are judging. His statements were all for United Pakistan. But then not a single example could be given that he gave a speech. After that speech, people went and killed people, or raped women, or put fire on houses. Not a single example. All these 17 witnesses. But for us, for my father, 12 witnesses were allowed. And while my brother was the first witness, when he was giving witness, then some of the other witnesses were already jailed, some others were threatened. So our defense team appealed to the court, please allow a new list of witnesses. And among them were in that 12, there were two from Britain, British retired general and retired professor who were supposed to come to give witness in favor of my father. The Bangladesh government didn't allow them to go. So only one witness, closing argument started. It's going to finish tomorrow, and within 3 weeks, they're going to be his verdict. And we all know what the verdict will be. Death sentence. It's just written, it's just confirmed. You can't, because they make decisions not on the basis of the law. They make decisions on the basis of their political will. Just give you one or two examples of how our family is affected by this. And I'll start with my own example. I remember faintly when 16 December 1971, when my father wasn't there because he couldn't come back. And we were 6 brothers. My mother, my grandfather, we were, desperate, because they would attack us, they would kill us. So we had to leave our house. And we got refuge in a house. Very interesting story. There was an Awami leader who was our distant relative. And during the war, he came to my father and said that, I have 3 young daughters and I'm very worried what will happen to them. Could you could you make some arrangement that my daughters could be stayed somewhere? So my father arranged his 3 daughters to stay in my uncle's house. So he gave that, in return. On 16 December night, we stayed in his house, locked in a room. That particular night, when people actually, outside his house, were trying to find out where we were. We were actually in his house, in the house of an Awami leader. He passed away in Allah because the support he gave. But after that, it was 1972 December, so that schooling starts in January in Bangladesh. So it was my time to start school. So I passed the admission test of a very famous school. And then in the Bible they asked me what's your father's name, and I said Ghulam Azam, and that was it. I wasn't allowed to study. So I had to wait 1 year, and the following year, people said, okay, you have to be wise. So we used, the next year when I entered school, I used my father's nickname. There's a nickname that my grandfather used to call him. We used that nickname as I entered the school. So I lost 1 year. And then when I started after my higher secondary, I started university in Bangladesh. I was not involved in politics, but there was a fighting going on. As I grew up as a son, I could not continue my studies. I was made the persona non grata, not allowed to enter the campus. If you enter, you will be killed. So I had to, ironically, go to India. And Aligarh Muslim University, where I studied. And alhamdulillah, I did very well there. Then when I came back, after my studies, no public university would take me because I'm Ghulam Azam. Very big crime. It doesn't matter that you never stood second in any of your exam in the university. You get a first class gold medal from famous Aligarh Muslim University. You are not allowed. You are Ghulam Azam. That's a big crime. So I was a lecturer I was teaching in private universities. Then I did my PhD by that time. Then I came to the UK, did a postdoc, went back. Again, no university would take me. Ghulam Azmi. So my father had enough. He wanted me to stay here. He had enough of it. And they said, okay, now you should go to England as well with your other brothers. My eldest brothers were sent to England in 72 because they were quite young, around 18, 19. They were not, of course, involved in anything, but 18, 19, a very young age. So my uncle, who passed away recently, he did his PhD and he was in Manchester. So he was instrumental in bringing them to England for their safety. So this is a family situation. Now, I'll just end with one or two. My brother, fourth brother, who's the only brother who's living in Bangladesh, he was the winner of the Sword of Honor, the best cadet when he was in the Bangladesh army training, and he won the gold medal. In his 30 years of army service, he never stood second in anything. He was one of the most brilliant officers in the Bangladesh army has ever produced. In 2009, after this government came to power, 4 months after that, he gets a letter saying you are dismissed. Not only retired. If you are retired, then you get the pension and you get the benefits. He was deprived of benefit around 5 million taka. Dismissed means he can't even enter an army cantonment. He can't even write that he was a brigadier general. No reason given. The only reason is Ghulam Azmi. Now those who are in the UK, most of us are in the UK, we can't go back to Bangladesh now. My nephews, even my brothers' wives, applying to the High Commission, saying that, okay, you either need to renew your Bangladeshi passport or need no visa required stuff. So when we go there, they say, no, we can't give you. We have to get permission from Dhaka. So we are now not allowed to. One of my nephews, he tried in Manchester. He was born and brought up in Bangladesh, in England. He studied at UCL. He tried in Manchester, they didn't give him, so he went to London and gave it. So they initially gave him the stamp, and then they realized that he's Ghulam Azmi's grandson, so they cancelled it. So this is what justice is going on. So I won't go on further. I'll just finish with this, discussing about, because I'm also very keen to hear Azman Rasulullah, very fond of his speech and his passion and his, I really,